Good afternoon and welcome to our dairy program. We're going to get started here in just a minute or two. I'd like to announce our judge today. Our dairy cow judge and dairy goat judge is Robert Kramer from Chancellor, South Dakota. And our superintendent today is Dustin Norberg. Let's give these guys a round of applause, please. All right, starting with our first class of dairy cows, we have the Junior Heifer Calf class. This class has 2 entries, both from Camden Firehelm of Lamar's FFA.
There we go. Starting out here at the head of the line here, I've got a real structurally correct heifer. I like the length of body on this heifer, but extremely that depth of body and that spring of rib that this heifer has over the heifer in second. The heifer in second is going to show me a little sharper shoulders, but just not that width in the forechest, nor that depth of body or that spring of rib that the heifer ahead of her has.
Congratulations to Camden Firehelm with the first and second place heifers of this class. Our next class is the Junior Yearling Heifer class. In this class, we have 1 entry, Haley Copenhaver of Hinton FFA.
single entry here. I wish this heifer had competition. This is an extremely beautiful dairy heifer. I really like that sharpness of shoulders, especially that strength of top line over that nice level tail head here on this heifer. She's long from the hips to the pins. She's got a lot of depth of body, a lot of spring of rib. Just a beautiful heifer here to go with an easy purple.
Congratulations to Haley Copenhaver of Hinton FFA with her junior yearling heifer. Our next class is the senior yearling heifer class. We have one entry, Cooper Steen of Johnson Juniors.
Another really nice single entry here. I really like the style on this jersey here. She's nice and a lot of depth of body here for a senior yearling heifer. If anything, I'd like to maybe just sharpen her up over the shoulders, put a little more strength into that top line. But this could have something to do with her carrying calf also. Also, a little bit of foot trimming could maybe make the heifer track a little easier on her feet, but an easy purple.
Congratulations to Cooper Steen of Johnson Juniors. The judge will be selecting his champion and reserve champion dairy cows at this time. Can we have our class winners back in the ring, please?
three really nice heifers out here. I really like to commend them on the great group of heifers here to bring out here. A really nice Jersey that's heavy with calf here. I just like to see her a little more strength over that top line and a little more standing up on those feet today. And we got a beautiful senior yearling here, Holstein heifer here. A heifer that's got exudes in a depth of body and spring of rib, but that extremely strong top line with that nice long level tail head. Then we got a senior heifer calf down there, just a picture perfect heifer of the one above her, just not quite the age on her yet. A heifer that's got a lot of length from the hips to the pins. She stands very tight on those feet when she walks the ring around spring. So I think today the only choice we have here, our grand champion is going to be the senior yearling Holstein heifer the young lady's got, and the Holstein senior heifer calf will be reserve champion.
Congratulations to our champion dairy cow winner, Haley Copenhaver of Hinton FFA. And also congratulations to the reserve champion dairy cow winner, Camden Firehelm of Lamar's FFA. We're going to go ahead and do showmanship next, dairy cow showmanship. So if you are interested in dairy cow showmanship, we have three groups: senior showmanship, intermediate showmanship, and junior showmanship. Senior showmanship is for those in grades 10 through 12. Intermediate showmanship is grades 7 through 9. And junior showmanship is grades 4 through 6. We'll start with seniors. So if you are interested in senior showmanship, you may go ahead and enter into the ring at this time. I apologize. We're going to go ahead and bring each of those three individuals out at the same time and just do one showmanship class.
Let's have a round of applause for 3 good juniors doing an excellent job here. I've got a senior here, I've got a intermediate here, and I've got a junior here. Each one in their own respective classes definitely is a first-class showman. They all 3 need to work a little more on setting them up once they stop them. They all seem to fall back on that. As far as grooming, they're all clipped completely. The ears are clean, tails are clean. They moved them in and out of the line correctly like they're supposed to. That's why I chose to do all 3 of them so we could educate here, so the young man here, so he gets something for his next year, he knows what to look for. But we got 3 definite first place showmen here.
Congratulations to our senior showmanship winner, Camden Firehome, intermediate showmanship winner, Haley Copenhaver, and junior showmanship winner, Cooper Steen. The showmanship trophies were sponsored by Wells Enterprises, and I forgot to mention the sponsors of the Reserve and Grand Champion Dairy Cow trophies. Those were sponsored by Rich and Betty Benson and Plymouth Dairy Farms. We have 1 bottle dairy goat, so we'll go ahead and bring in that bottle dairy goat into the ring at this time.
For a bottle goat here, we've got a really nice young lady who's done a beautiful job. This goat's really in good shape. I really like she's evidently not missed any of her feedings. I really like the way they're feeding her grain and stuff. I did comment to the young lady that next year I wouldn't enter her as a dairy goat because she does have extra teeth, so she could easily show as a breeding meat goat class. And then she wouldn't be criticized for the extra teeth. But as a dairy goat, she would normally be disqualified for more than 2 teats. But a nice doe, give her another year of growing, she'd be strong competition in the breeding meat goat class.
Congratulations to Sierra Zelmer on her bottle dairy goat. We're going to move on into our dairy goat portion, starting with the Doe Kid, class number 1. This is Doe Kid under 3 months. Our exhibitor in this class is Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers.
Single entry, beautiful alpine kid here. I really like the uphill walking that this doe does. Very sharp over them shoulders. Nice, long, strong top line. But she does have an extremely high, wide escutcheon, which she needs to be commended for.
Congratulations, Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers. Class number 2, Doe Kid, 3 to 6 months. We have 2 entries for Haley Copenhaver of Lucky Liberty Lopers.
Two beautiful Nigerians here, starting out at the head of the line. The doe's probably got the most depth of body, the most spring rib on her. She is going to grant to the doe in second, just a little higher, wider escutcheon. But my doe in first just has that extreme depth of body and spring rib that the other doe doesn't have today.
Congratulations to Haley Copenhaver of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Class number 3 is Doe Kids, 3 to 6 months. In this class, we have 2 entries for Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors.
Two really nice Doe Kids here, beautiful sonans. I really like the sharpness of shoulders, the strength of top line, the long level rump. Going with my doe and the youngest doe here in the first of the class, a doe that just give me a lot higher, wider escutcheon in the area. A little for her age, she has more depth of body, more spring of rib. She is going to grant a little more incurving thigh on the doe in second, but the doe in second just doesn't quite have that smoothness and levelness over the top line down into that rump to go ahead of the doe ahead of her.
Congratulations, Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors. Our next class is class number 4, Doe Kid 3 to 6 months. In this class, we have 2 entries for Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers, and we also have Cale Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers.
Three beautiful Doe Kids here. I really like all 3 of them. Starting out at the head of the line with this beautiful La Mancha. When she walks, she just got that head tip like, see me, I'm a La Mancha. She's very wide in that front end. I really like the strength over the top line, that sharpness of shoulders, into that long level of the rump. Into the doe in second, she's going to grant a little higher and wider in the escutcheon, but she doesn't have that width of forechest to go ahead of the doe ahead of her. Into my third place doe, a really nice doe, a doe that just doesn't quite have the depth of body or spring or rib that the 2 does ahead of her has today. With age, that could change.
Congratulations. First place in the class goes to Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Second place to Cale Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Class number 5, Doe Kid 12 months to under 24 months is next. In this class, we have Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors, Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers, and Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers. At this time, we have Class 5 and Class 6 in the ring together.
What a beautiful class of yearlings here. I had a little trouble here between the La Mancha and the Sanan here. Two extremely nice does. But it comes down to the thing here. The La Mancha, they're both extremely tall. They're both extremely sharp over that top line. The La Mancha just blends a little smoother into the rump than the Sanan does. The La Mancha has a little more width in that forechest than the Sanan does. The Sanan is going to grant to a little more depth of body. But the big clincher here for me is when I look at them from the rear view, the La Mancha has the most perfect, huge, rounded escutcheon than what the Sanan does. So she's what I would consider my perfect goat here. In the third place, we got a nice Nigerian Dwarf Doe here. I really like the sharpness of shoulders and that depth of body of her, but she just doesn't quite have the escutcheon that ahead of the two. Into my fourth place one, another nice Nigerian doe, really sharp shouldered doe. I just like to see her a little wider in that escutcheon. Into my fifth place, La Mancha here, a doe that just doesn't quite have that width of the forechest, nor that strength in the loin area that she does, and does not go into that levelness of rump that the does ahead of her do. Into my sixth place doe, a really nice doe, a doe that's just lacking that spacing in the escutcheon and just doesn't quite have that flatness of bone over the rib cage that the does ahead of her do.
Congratulations to Cale Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers, receiving Champion Junior Dairy Goat. Also, congratulations to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors with the Reserve Champion Junior Dairy Goat. Our next class is class number 7, Senior Does. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I messed that one up. So the champion yearling was Cale Bailey, and the reserve champion yearling was Hunter Norberg. We're now going to bring the class winners back in to do the champion junior dairy goat and the reserve champion junior dairy goat. I apologize.
Five exceptional animals out here. They're all a champion in their own respect here. But I think looking at the entire group, going in to try and find one doe that's going to give me a complete package here, I want something with a strong front end. I want something sharp over the shoulders, something strong over that top line that blends into a nice level rump. A doe that's got a nice high wide escutcheon. I think today the doe that gives me the most complete package is my senior yearling La Mancha here, a doe that's just absolutely beautiful, but she especially excels in that escutcheon area. She is so round and deep in that. Into that beautiful Sonnen kid here, a kid that's just very strong and tall on those front feet. She walks uphill. Give her a little more age and she's going to be really tough competition. I really like the strength of that top line that blends into that nice long level rump on her. Into my other three, just not quite that width in the forechest or width in the scutcheon or the depth of body to go ahead of the other two, but definitely nice goats.
Congratulations to Cale Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers receiving Champion Junior Dairy Goat. And Reserve Champion Junior Dairy Goat goes to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors. I guess I'm really good at forecasting the future. Class 7 is our senior doe under 2 years in milk. In this class, we have 2 entries. We have Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors and Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers.
Two very nice milking yearlings here. Going at the head of the line here with my sharp Sonnen doe here. A doe that's very uphill, very sharp over them shoulders. Nice springer rib. Into a beautiful mammary system. I really like that fore udder. She definitely excels in that high rear, wide rear udder. Into the doe in second place, just a doe that just doesn't quite have that depth of body, doesn't have the springer rib that the doe ahead of her, nor does she have that straight teat delineation that the doe ahead of her has.
Congratulations. First place in the class goes to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors. Second place in the class, Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers. Class number 8 is next, our senior does 2 years and under 3 years. In this class, we have Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors and Cale Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers.
Two very nice does. Beautiful Sonnen and a nice La Mancha here. Starting out the head of the line with the Sonnen. Big, deep-bodied doe, a lot of springer rib, a lot of depth of body. But she does excel to the best fore-udder attachment and the highest, widest, and tightest rear-udder attachment. She is going to grant a little better teeth delineation to the doe in second here, but the doe in second just doesn't quite have the springer rib or depth of body to go ahead and or that fore-udder attachment that the Sonnen doe does ahead of her.
Congratulations to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors and Cale taking first place, excuse me. So Hunter took first place and then Cale Bailey took second place. Lucky Liberty Lopers. Our next class is class number 9, Senior Doe, 3 years and under 5 years. In this class, we have Haley Copenhaver of Lucky Liberty Lopers and Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors.
Two nice does here, starting at the head of the line with the Sonnen here. A big front-ended doe, a real sharp-shouldered doe. Doe with a lot of depth of body and springer rib. If I were to correct anything on this doe, I'd like to put a little more balance in that mammary system. Into the doe in second, a doe that just doesn't have that medial suspensory ligament to go ahead of the doe ahead of her, nor that fore-udder tightness of the fore-udder attachment. But a really nice Nigerian Dwarf Doe, really deep-bodied doe.
Congratulations to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors, first place. Second place in the class, Haley Copenhaver of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Class number 10 is Senior Does, 5 years and over. In this class, we have Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers and Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors.
two nice does here. I'm starting out the head of the line with my La Mancha. With these two does, they're both deep-bodied for their breed respect, but I get into handling that mammary system. The La Mancha doe just has a stronger fore and rear udder attachment. When she's on the walk, the udder doesn't swing back and forth like the Sonnen's does. The Sonnen's just lacking that tightness in the fore and rear udder attachment to bring her any further ahead.
First place in the class goes to Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Second place to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors. We're going to go ahead and bring in our senior doe class winners, and the judge will select for his champion and reserve champion senior does. If you have a winner of any of the senior doe classes, you can go ahead and enter the ring at this time.
Beautiful class of does here. There's all a lot of beautiful udders. I really tossed it back and forth between this yearling and this 2-year-old here. But I think when it comes down to the final score and adding up the points here, the 2-year-old just has a little more depth of body, a little more springer rib than the yearling does. But the yearling does have to be commended for that teat delineation. However, when it comes to checking a medial suspensory ligament, the 2-year-old's got a much sharper, cleaner medial suspensory ligament than the yearling does. That's what broke my tie here. So my champion will be this 2-year-old. My reserve champion will be the yearling.
Congratulations to Hunter Norberg for earning both champion senior dairy goat and reserve champion senior dairy goat. Our next class is class 11, dairy daughter and dams. In this class, we have 3 entries: Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers, Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers, and Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors.
Daughter Dam class is kind of an interesting class here. It's a class where you take and compare the daughter and the dam, you know, take a look and see. So is the dam throwing any good traits? Is she throwing any better traits? Or is she going downhill? And I think the easy pick here is my Sonnen pair here. The doe, the older doe's just got that looser mammary system. She threw a nice high, wide, tight mammary system on her daughter. Her daughter walks uphill just like she does. It's definitely an improvement here. Into my La Manchas, two really nice La Manchas. I guess I'd like to see a mammary system on the daughter. The doe, the milking doe, is just a little light on one side, so I'd like to see if she can throw an evenly balanced udder onto a daughter. So maybe next year the daughter will be fresh and we'll be able to compare that. Into my pair of Alpines, real nice Alpines. You can see where the doe is throwing a nice sharp set of shoulders, but just not the mammary system here to compare with the ones up above.
Congratulations to our exhibitors in this class. First place in the class goes to Hunter Norberg of Johnson Juniors. Second place in the class goes to Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers. And congratulations, Ashley Johnson of Grant Clever Clovers. Our next class is 222 All Other Goats, Exotic and Fancy Goats. In this class, we have 5 entries. First, Haley Copenhaver of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Mesa Zelmer of Lucky Liberty Lopers. Haley Copenhaver, also of Lucky Liberty Lopers. And then Emily Attrill of Lucky Liberty Lopers has 2 entries. I'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsors here quick. Our first sponsor for Reserve Champion Junior Dairy Goat was Eric Cabbage. Champion Junior Dairy Goat was the Peets family. Reserve Champion Senior Dairy Goat, the 4D Farms and Norberg family. Champion Senior Dairy Goat, Carol's Kitchen.
Nice mixture here. Starting out at the head of the line, probably my sharpest shouldered doe. A doe with the most depth of body and the most spring of rib, but definitely the highest, widest escutcheon. She's going to grant a little more depth of body, but not quite the strength of top line in the doe to second placer. Into my doe in third place, I'd just like to see her a little wider in that fore chest to bring her any higher. Into my fifth place doe, a doe that just doesn't have that strength of top line or that width in the fore chest. Into my sixth place doe, that's probably one of the deeper bodied does, but a doe that's just walking on some pretty spongy pasterns.
Congratulations. Our first place winner of the exotic and fancy goats goes to Haley Copenhaver of Lucky Liberty Lopers. And second place of that class goes to Mesa Zelmer of Lucky Liberty Lopers. We're going to go ahead and proceed with showmanship now. So senior showmanship will begin with you. If you are interested in senior showmanship, those are individuals grades 10 through 12. You may go ahead and enter the ring at this time. We will then proceed to intermediate showmanship and then finally junior showmanship. Intermediate showmanship is grades 7 through 9 and junior showmanship is grades 4 through 6.
Single entry here, senior showman. I did visit with the young lady here. I've been watching her throughout the show. She's been doing an exceptional job. I mean, she's definitely a first place showman. But I just give her a few grooming technique tips on the goat. You know, trim the hair out of the ears, clip the tail so it looks has a paintbrush effect and stuff. Just a few little minor things that she could do to bring her grooming part up on the goat. But a young lady that, and that's with most of the kids, I watch them all through the show, and you can tell if they're going to do any good or if they're not good. And this young lady knows what she's doing. She does a beautiful job throughout the show.
Congratulations, Emily Attrell, our champion senior showman. The senior showmanship trophies were sponsored by John and Lori Ruland and 4D Norberg family. Next, we have our intermediate showmanship. These are, again, individuals in grades 7 through 9.
Three excellent showmen here doing a beautiful job. Watching them all throughout the show, they all do really good. They do super good. I just dreaded having to pick them apart here. But I think today, the thing that I was able to break the tie with is it's between the young lady and the young man with the sanin. The young man with the sanin, his doe moved her feet and relaxed herself more. He didn't watch her. The young lady, she's always got her eye on that goat's feet. The minute she moves them. So I think that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with my first place showman for the young lady, my second place showman, the young man with the sanin, and my third place, the young man. I did visit with him on moving in and out of the line. There's just a few little things. But as far as it goes for grooming, he's probably got the most best groomed doe in the lineup. I mean, her tail is completely clipped. It's clean. I can't say her ears are clipped because she don't have ears. But the just overall general body appearance, you can just see that she had a lot of love and care when she was groomed.
Congratulations to our intermediate showman champion, Haley Copenhaver, and reserve champion, Hunter Norberg. The intermediate showmanship trophies were sponsored by Ann Shainrock and Steve and Tanya Remenschneider. Our last class today is the junior showmanship, grades 4 through 6. At this time, let's go ahead and give another round of applause for our judge today, Robert Kramer from Chancellor, South Dakota, and our superintendent, Destin Norberg.
Two very nice juniors or beginners, whatever you want to call them, that are just starting out here. They really know a lot. I mean, they've got, and so they're going to be tough competition coming up the line. They both had a few little nicks that I would say, but we've worked on that. Been watching them all throughout the show. They both do an excellent job. But I think it's all going to come down for right now, for this point, it would be to the grooming. If the young lady could get the hair clipped out of the ears and clip off the end of that tail so it looks like a paintbrush, that would help her immensely. Another thing on a dairy goat, to make sure you clip the bottom legs. On a meat goat, you don't do that, but on a dairy goat, you do, because that gives them a lot more femininity and a lot more cleanness in those legs. So when it comes to the grooming part, I'd have to say, so overall for the scorecard, I'd have to give it to the young man with the La Mancha Doe, and the young lady would be second.
Congratulations to the champion junior showman, Mason Bailey of Lucky Liberty Lopers, and the reserve champion junior showman, Mesa Zelmer of Lucky Liberty Lopers. I believe that concludes our dairy show today. Thank you again to our judge and to our superintendent, and thank you to the spectators for being such great spectators. Congratulations, everybody.